Hey, fellow adventurers, Dan Nelson here with an answer to one of my subscribers, Jane, who asks about a limited palette. That term, limited palette, you've probably heard it. It means a whole bunch of different things depending on who you talk to. Let me give you a couple. One is I can't show you because I don't have all these colors, but it's a very traditional limited palette made up of Mars Black, Yellow Ochre, I'm going to abbreviate OCHRE, Yellow Ochre, and Alizarin Crimson. Okay? Aliz Crimson. There we go. That is a very popular, very traditional limited palette. As you can see, there is no blue in this. The Mars Black is a cool black, so when you mix this and Yellow Ochre, you get something sort of a muddy green. This is particularly popular with portrait sketch people doing oil paintings of figures and so forth, and you can't get in too much trouble. You want to watch out for Alizarin Crimson because it's not a highly, permanent. It is, there's a name for that, it's escaping my mind. Fugitive, that's it. It's a fugitive color. In 100 years it won't be there. But who's going to know? Okay, never mind. There are some limited palettes that I definitely want to talk about. Before I do, I want to divide this into two categories. So ignore this now. I have two columns here. So here's a trick question I'd like to ask. If you mix all the colors in a rainbow together, what do you get? Depends whether you're in physics class or chemistry class. If you're in physics, mix all the colors together, you get white, right? Mix light together, you get white. If you're in what I call chemistry class, that is, if you're mixing pigments together, what do you get? You have brown, mousy, gray, exactly. So I want to come back to those two categories in just a minute, mixing light versus mixing pigments. Let's stick with mixing pigments for just a little while. Theoretically, you all know this, you learned it in 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 7th, 12th grade, in there somewhere you learned that if you mix the primary colors, red and blue together, what do you get? Purple, that's right. And if you mix blue and yellow together, you get green, that's right. And if you mix yellow and red together, you get orange. You learned that, right? Have you ever had that blow up in your face? Well, I guarantee you have. Here's what some of you have done. You've taken, let's say a red color. I'm going to do this right here before your very eyes. You've taken a red, that's red, isn't it? And you've taken a blue. I'm rinsing in the wrong rinse, so that doesn't get, oil paint does not come out with water. And you would you not agree that this is blue, right? So if we mix those two together, we should get purple, right? Let me get some more of that other red stuff. And I don't know how this looks on your monitor. But ladies and gentlemen, that is so ridiculously far away from purple. It's not any more purple here in person than it might be looking on your monitor. All right, let's try another one. Let's mix some yellow with some blue. Well, let me clean off this brush in between. Would you not agree that that's yellow? Yes, that is yellow. And would you not agree that this is a blue? Yes, you would. That's a yellow and a blue. And if we mix these two together, we're supposed to get a beautiful spring green. Isn't that right? Is that what you learned in 3rd grade? Yellow and blue makes green. Well, if you use a lot of imagination, yeah, that's sort of a green. It's not exactly the green you were hoping for in 3rd grade, is it? Okay, I'm messing with you, aren't I? I'm showing you what's wrong with that 3 primary color limited palette thing, right? No, yellow and green do not, you know what I mean. No, it is not true. Red and blue don't necessarily make purple. Some reds and some blues make purple. Some yellows and blues make green, and so on and so on. So what's going on here? Well, if you really want to have a palette, a fairly limited palette that works, what you have to have, and I'm just going to abbreviate this, what you have to have is a warm yellow, and a cool yellow. Okay, cool yellow. That's a cadmium yellow light. You need to have a cool red, and a warm red. Are you with me? Warm red. You see the difference between those two? And you need to have a cool blue. Here's my cool blue ultramarine. Cool blue. And I'm going to try to use this brush twice here. And a warm blue. There we go, WB. Okay? Can you see the difference in those colors? So what really is true, if you mix a cool red with a cool blue, oh, you'll get a beautiful purple. You mix a warm yellow with a warm blue, you'll get a beautiful green. You got the idea, right? So this is my modified limited palette. Let me tell you now what these colors are. Indian yellow, wrong country. Indian yellow, cad yellow light, and by the way, in yellows you can use the hues, the imitation. So that's what I do. I use cad yellow imitation, alizarin crimson, or this is actually permanent rose. Permanent rose is my favorite cool red right now, and my favorite warm red is Scarlet Lake. You don't take my word for it. You play around with different colors, see what you like. But my favorite is Scarlet Lake, and these two blues I'm locked into. Maybe I'm in a rut. I like it. Ultramarine blue and phthalo blue gives me all the blues I need. And by the way, then I don't need cobalt. You mix these two together, you get something so close to cobalt that most people can't even tell the difference. So, did you get that? With those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors, then yes, you can mix virtually every color in the rainbow. Now, then what's the point of buying brown and Hooker's green and all those, red, oxide red and so on? The reason is we're not in physics class. We are in color mixing chemistry class. And none of our chemicals are perfect. None of our pigments are perfect. That's why the little experiment I did a little while ago, why it didn't work, because it wasn't a perfect red and a perfect blue, so we didn't get a perfect purple at all. So play around with all those colors. I will tell you that I spent a good 20 years of my life as an illustrator using basically 3 primary colors, and just use those 3. But you throw in things like yellow ochre. Why? Can't you make up an imitation yellow ochre using a warm yellow and a white and a little bit? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. But why? Because it's cheaper, faster time-wise to just get it out of the tube. Plus, every color kind of behaves a little bit differently with every other color. I recommend don't make a great big long study of this stuff. Just play like a kid. Say, what happens? I remember so clearly, I was 12 years old when I discovered in watercolor what happens when you make Hooker's green and Payne's gray. And my little 12-year-old brain went, and I still remember what it's like when you get those 2 colors mixed up. Magic things happen. So that's why you use more colors. But you don't need them. Got it? You do not, Jane, you don't need them. You can just use these 6. Now, before I go, one other thing. I'm not going to go into great length, but all of this is sort of in the color mixing, what I'm calling chemistry class. Let's get back over here to physics a little bit, because this is in fact very closely related to the way I paint. If you're familiar with how I paint, I do acrylic underpainting in, get this, transparent color, okay? That's very important. Now when you're painting in transparent colors, I started to mess you up, throw you a little curveball, the rules change. Woo boy. And I say the reason the rules change is because when you're dealing with transparent colors, it's not the same as opaque colors. And it's sort of like a cross between chemistry and physics class. That's why I'm putting this under physics. When you paint in transparent colors, here are the 3 colors you need. And yes, you can get by with just these 3. They are a cool red, a warm blue, and a yellow. Transparent yellow, which is a little bit tricky. The Indian yellow I was using a while ago, that's very transparent. Okay, so when you're dealing in transparent layers, you cannot use a warm red. Just if you make warm red transparent, it doesn't turn pretty. Can I use that term? You must use a cool red. This is why now some of you are recognizing these three colors right here. Some of you who've had anything to do with printing or graphic design or the whole print world. Okay, four-color printing. You're familiar with that term? Four-color printing is made up of magenta, cyan, yellow, and black. Four colors, four-color printing. Magenta, not red, magenta. Very close to rose, permanent rose, yes. Cyan, very close to phthalo blue, and yellow. So if you're painting in transparent colors, that is your limited palette. Got it? And yes, you can get by. You can make. So how do you make a fire engine red with these two? With these colors, the answer is you add some yellow to your magenta, and it's red. Okay, boy, that was a lot of talking in a short time about limited palette. Jane, I hope that's helpful. Thanks for the question. Please send more, and I'll get back to you at Dan Nelson Art or right here on my YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.